Does this make me gay? I was at the mall, right? And some guy saw me. He was like, "Oh, Kev Hart, what up, man? Yo, I'm a big fan. I love you, dude. Funny as hell. Keep doing you, man. Swear to God, funny." And I caught it. Does that make me gay?
There is a chorus of opinion that believes that you've made this change because it's easier to be an elite athlete.
Baby, it's bad out there.
Say, what's in this
No
drink?
cabs to be had out there.
I wish I knew how.
Your eyes are like stars
to
right
break
now.
this spell.
Hi, I thought it might be fun to see me throwing up in a public bathroom.
Welcome to Last Man on Earth. My name is Lex Jordan. As always, I'm flanked by Matt Ralston. Matt is in the midst of a binge watching all of the Hollywood Awards season nominated films. Naturally, he's only watching the gay-themed movies, but the joke's on him because that's every single nominated movie. I went briefly through the list of nominated like Golden Globe films. Man, it's like if you're gay, those are all your movies.
The one kid, I shouldn't say kid, I think he's like 20 now, who was in Manchester by the Sea.
Yes,
Lucas Hedges.
Yes.
So he played a gay guy in like 4 movies in a row.
Yes.
And then he does like an interview with Terry Gross, and he's like, yeah, I think I'm like probably gay. And it's like, oh, really? Well, let us know if you're not, because you only play a gay guy really well.
Interestingly enough, he played the heterosexual guy in Manchester by the Sea who was banging multiple girls.
Yeah, but
it was so unconvincing.
Yeah, it was. It was very unconvincing. It was like he was a real Renaissance man in that movie. You know, he was in a band, he played hockey,
yes,
and he was like a womanizer.
And an orphan.
And an orphan.
Yes.
And a dick.
And a dick.
But yeah, he kind of just came off as a gay theater kid.
I thought you meant Timothy Chalamet. Is that how you pronounce his name? He was also like in 4 nominated movies.
Right.
He was the one with the Arnie.
He was in Lady Bird.
Yeah, he was the one in the gay movie last year with Arnie Hammer where they had the peach scene.
Oh, right.
Call Me by Your Name.
Yeah, he was like the young twink.
Yes, he's always
sugar boy.
He plays straight sometimes, but he's also, and there was a big piece on him this past week saying is Timothy Chalamet the future of male acting, or the male actor of his time. I thought, yeah, he's completely gay, so he's completely non-threatening, non-toxic, masculine. There's no masculinity whatsoever to him. Tiny, skinny, little. I don't know if he's gay or not, but totally gay-looking dude.
Yeah.
So I guess he is kind of a side of the male like early 20-something male times.
Yeah.
Just completely non-threatening as a man. So this week's show is sponsored by Charlie Sheen, celebrating 1 year sober. Oh, it may not seem like much to you, but to the hookers he filled up with AIDS, the people he nearly killed on the roads, the marriages and lives and women he ruined and or beat or shot, and the doctor's time he wasted with endless trips to the emergency rooms for cocaine overdoses, it's a big day. Charlie Sheen celebrating 1 year sober. Let's be honest, we kind of rooted against him. He had to pull out his chip. He's got his AA chip for 1 year. So he's 1 year clean and sober. After
how long has
30
he had
30
HIV?
years?
A couple of years?
Well, at least I think 2011 or so is when he said he got it.
So he got the high five and was like, yeah, I think I'm going to, party for another 5 years or
yes.
so.
Well, he did the arthritic goat's milk in Mexico, I remember. But then there were the girls who were crying, all the few prostitutes who were crying because he'd had unprotected sex with them, I think, after he was HIV positive.
Yeah.
And he claimed that he didn't give them, they couldn't prove it. I don't know exactly what happened. He paid a lot of money to a lot of people. But it was freaky times for a lot of, they were all porn stars, but freaky times for porn stars.
Yeah. Well, the porn stars weren't too happy about it because I'm assuming they don't really care if they get AIDS or not. But
really?
I think they want to be compensated accordingly.
That's a big assumption.
Well,
price?
If
Really?
you don't want to get AIDS, do you really do, like anal gangbang scenes?
Well, I'll say this: it's one of the very few businesses, like occupations, I can think of where when you do get AIDS, you can't work anymore.
Yeah,
you're not allowed to work. You're not allowed to be HIV positive to work.
Well, that's why if he gave AIDS to whatever token porn star, she would have that as a court case. Like she would be compensated for all the work she missed.
Oh, so you think it's like a golden parachute?
Yeah. So she's like, shit, no more Mandingo, and
Like I'm gonna get AIDS anyhow. I might as well get AIDS and get paid a lot of money.
yeah, I'm gonna die
very
of
cynical-
AIDS regardless.
That's a very cynical.
So it could either be in a basement or in Cancun.
Stormy Daniels doing okay. We're gonna talk about her later. That's a very cynical view of how porn stars think, but it may be. I feel like they think more like, what can I steal from his house? Can I get his car when he's wasted and doesn't realize he's handing the title over to me? So I'll give it to my pimp. Charlie Sheen is actually probably the most amazing person to still be alive after what he's done to himself. It's quite incredible that it just makes this world makes no sense that like good people have died in the last 20 years while Charlie Sheen is like overdosed on cocaine a dozen times, gotten AIDS and driven his car off of many cliffs and is still somehow alive.
And been very well compensated for showing up to set high.
Yes.
In crappy Chuck Lorre productions,
And
that
not
any actor could have done.
that not being very
better.
talented. He's not a horrible actor, but he's not a good actor.
He's not great to begin with, but if you factor in that he's been doing cocaine and crack all night and then
Yes.
showing up on set, he's
not
there are probably some actors that can pull that off.
He's no Christian Bale.
No.
He's not like a super high maintenance guy who's also a talented actor. He's just a super high maintenance guy that can deliver a one-liner.
Yeah, but he looks like a crackhead.
Yes,
and he's
he
playing
does.
like I don't know what his character was on 2.5 Men.
He was like a lascivious guy, which kind of worked a little bit.
Yeah, but he wasn't supposed to be a crackhead who got
No.
fucked by male trannies.
No, I don't think
He was
so.
supposed to be like
I only
he
watched
drank
the
a few
first
beers
season. I
every
only
night.
saw the first season. I don't know. He was. All I know is he was such a horrible person that kid actor in the thing became like a born again. Like imagine that. Like you're growing up on set with Charlie Sheen, and he's such a horrible influence on you that you're either gonna die from like drugs yourself or become a born again. That's how bad he was. Like
Right.
you're so as like a 12-year-old, you're so personally disgusted by him, you turn to Jesus just for salvation.
And then they replaced him with Ashton Kutcher, and then he just like, where do you go from there? Like, is that worse? Like, now do I join a cult?
I don't understand those TV shows. I don't know who watches those TV shows. I don't understand. I see them in the doctor's office sometimes,
Yeah.
so I watch for like 5 minutes, and I don't understand how people watch that. I mean, I just don't understand. There's nothing. I mean, if you're an elderly person, geriatric, like in an old person's home, you have it on because you just can't turn the TV off, or in prison maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't know who goes who wants to watch that. Like, who doesn't think they have much better TV options than that
I mean,
show?
aren't there theories that it's just on, like someone watches a certain show and then the TV's still on or something?
Yeah, I'm not sure for that show. Or like, so this year I looked at the top TV shows of 2018. Big Bang Theory was again the top TV show of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen Big Bang Theory?
Yeah, but I'm getting it confused with Modern Family.
Big Bang is the one with the Kaylee Cuoco and the nerds living in the science nerds living in the apartment or whatever with Jim Parsons and
Maybe I haven't seen
Matt
it.
Galecki and what's her name, the ugly girl from Blossom.
I think I've seen a few minutes of it. I don't know.
Although I will say this, there is not a single comedy on TV that's worse than Two Broke Girls. That is absolutely. Sometimes that just turn the TV on. It's on because on some channel, someone else in the house leaves the TV on, and I'll watch like TBS or something, and I'll watch for like a few minutes, and it's just so it is so unfunny. I don't understand it. They just add the laugh track to like bad Chelsea Handler jokes, basically.
Yeah, I saw a few minutes of. That's the one where they're waitresses, right?
Yeah, the girl, Kat dating the girl with the big breasts, and
they were doing these jokes that were kind of like. It was one scene where they were doing gossiping in the restaurant, and they weren't even jokes.
No.
Like they weren't jokes.
No.
And then there was the laugh track, but their jokes were sort of like reaffirming positive things about minorities. Like they were kind of like statements delivered as if they were a joke, but there was no punchline. And I was like, what the fuck am I watching? Like I watched it for 2 minutes and I was just I was angry. I got pissed.
I was pissed too. I think it was on for 4 or 5 seasons. It's just not. I mean, you have to be just moronic to sit there and watch that show for half an hour. It's simply not funny. And there's so many good shows and funny shows on cable and streaming.
Yeah.
That why would you possibly just want to watch that?
Do you ever meet the people? And for me, it's usually women, just because I don't hang out with that many guys that I don't know. Because I'm not trying to fuck guys.
Good point. As far as we know.
And so a lot of chicks will be like, yeah, I love insert show. Like, I know it's terrible, but it's just my thing. And I'm like, well, then you're lame.
Yes.
If you know it's terrible, why?
Well, it's their porn. It's their porn. I get it that it's an alternative to porn for women, but then it's so like women. Ellen announced she's going to be retiring, and like all these women on social media started like crying basically. They really they were like, "What am I going to do, Ellen? Don't leave." Also, and I always think, okay, that's fucking stupid. Then I realized it's their porn, so it's like porn going away. How attached the guy is to porn.
Right.
So I don't judge them for that. But Two and a Broke Girls is not the same thing as Ellen. Ellen has a emotional connection these women have with her. Two Broke Girls are just very mediocre one-liner sets to a loud laugh track.
Yeah.
That there's no way you have any emotional or sentimental investment in that. Or the people they're acting, they're not even real people. Ellen, at least you feel like, I know the real Ellen. She's just like me. I wish she was my sister or my best friend.
Yeah.
The sitcom doesn't even offer that. So you're just judging on the quality of its humor. And it's fucking
well.
fucking
Friends
horrible.
was kind of like that because I never thought Friends was funny, although certain people argue otherwise. But that was like a fantasy. I think a lot of women and guys have. It's like I live with my friends,
Yes.
and we hang out all
After
the time.
college, we still live together.
Yeah,
and have sex.
So I kind of get that. But the Two Broke Girls is like honestly, well, they're broke girls. Like that doesn't seem like a real fantasy that I'd want to vicariously live through.
No,
So.
it's just, and you think about any given barista show now on Netflix, it's probably 10 times funnier than that show. Do not forget to become a patron of the show. Patreon.com /Men on Earth. Patreon.com has been recently deplatforming people. I don't know if you saw those stories.
I didn't.
They're taking off conservative, I guess.
Oh, good. I know one guy. I hope they took off. I'm not even going to say.
You're
his
big for
name.
deplatforming? You're against the First...
I used to.
You're not a big First Amendment guy?
We used to hang out with this comedian guy that he turned into like a huge white nationalist dude, but he's killing it on Patreon.
Yeah, but I mean, don't you believe underlying he has a right to be on Patreon? Like if people want to subscribe to him?
It depends on how aggressively you're spreading hate. No, I mean...
Well, I suppose if you're inciting violence, yes. But I mean, if you're just like a big Trump fan or something like that, I mean...
Well, no, you shouldn't be kicked off.
It's just kind of... deplatforming people has to be like... You have to, to me, to deplatform somebody, especially when it's where they make their money from, you got to have some really hard evidence that they're actually causing some real damage to people. Because, by the way, absolutely nobody has to listen to your show.
No, I agree. But if like, well, where's the line? Like maybe Richard Spencer. I could see deplatforming that guy.
Yes. It's actually because not only people don't have to listen to your channel, they actually have to sign up and pay to listen to your channel. Right. So how can they say I'm really offended by this content I signed up for and paid for?
Good point.
It's ridiculous. But go to patreon.com/Men on Earth. Maybe we'll get deplatformed. That'd be great publicity. Thanks to all your patrons. Get on the shit now before it disappears. We'll take the white nationalists who have been deplatformed. Come to our show. We can do a segment each week on how much we hate minorities. I would do that for some of those big dollar things. If you wish to contact the show, it's on Twitter at Last Man Podcast or Facebook also at Last Man Podcast. All right, on to the show. Matt, you are a huge fan of Australian handball. Do you know the rules of handball, by the way?
Vaguely. I mean, it's basically basketball, but you don't dribble and you throw the ball into a soccer net. Does that sound about right?
I have no idea. I think in the Olympics, I always see it's always Chinese people doing it. And it seems to be like a sport that you did, you're probably familiar with this, in grade school when it was too cold or wet outside to do PE. Mm. And so like your PE coach would make up stupid games inside the auditorium.
Yeah, it's a good.
You're allowed to throw, and they always have these arbitrary rules, like you can throw to him, but you can only throw once, and he has to throw to somebody else.
We had like a special. Our gym teacher was a huge jock, so we just played dodgeball.
Nice.
No rules about head.
We had like whatever ball. So if we had a volleyball net, but no one had a volleyball, so we had a football. So it was like you got to throw the football over the net. Someone has to catch it. They can give one pass to somebody else. You have to throw it to somebody. It was just like
it's real fun.
We didn't have a lot of equipment, so it's like whatever. Then they always pretend like it was a real game. Like, oh yeah, this is volley football. It's been played for a long time, but honestly, no stupider than handball, which seems to be sort of like lacrosse without sticks and a bigger ball. Like you pass it, and I've never understood like in those games, can you tackle somebody or how do you steal the ball from somebody?
I don't know. I also don't know why the U.S. doesn't field a team because
Stupid sport.
There's a bunch of sports that are called handball. I'm assuming this is the same one I'm thinking of, but like a college basketball team could demolish the rest of the world.
You think so in handball?
Yeah, it's
I thought it's short Asian people.
They have like a line that's like a 3-point line basically that you can jump over, and as long as you take off behind the line, your shot counts. So there's guys that could just
I see what you're saying.
Run and
Yes.
like a free throw line dunk. And
That reminds me, Matt, of your awesome dart idea.
it's the same exact idea.
I don't think it was ever agreed upon by the Dart Association.
Well, those fat motherfuckers, they can't conceive of someone jumping, because in the Dart handbook manual or manual rules,
Yes.
I looked it up, and it doesn't specify that you can't jump over the line.
So it's not like bowling. There's no fault line.
No, there's not. So I was like, I did a long jump in high school. I get enough speed, I run and I essentially place the dart
Yes.
in the bullseye while in the air. And this really pisses off dart people.
Have you tried it?
Yeah.
Oh, it works?
Well, the place I was at, I didn't get a good running start.
Yes.
Because it was in a small room.
Did you win like a free bag of peanuts after this, or was there an argument over it?
There were some dart people on Reddit that were like, "This guy's an idiot." That was about it.
I think that was me. So Hannah Mouncey used to be. I don't know what Hannah Mouncey's name used to be, but there's a.
Oh, it was.
It seems to be Australia, by the way, where all this is happening. Hannah used to be a guy, someone Mouncey, who was a male handball player and a big fella at that, at 6'2", 220 pounds.
It's Calum.
Calum Mouncey?
Yeah, and he was not just a big guy. He was on
big
the
handball guy.
Olympic.
Yes.
He was an elite male handball player.
Yes.
National team.
We would have made fun of just that, but then Calum at 6'2", 220 decided to become a woman and is now kicking ass in women's handball in Australia, which I guess in that Pacific region in southern China and that area is really big.
Mm-hmm.
Taiwan, China, Singapore, whatever, all these places have it's a big handball thing. Australia's in that league. And so now Hannah, who is, a good 8 inches and 80 pounds bigger than everybody else, is dominating what's it's not like tackle football, but it's a fairly physical sport based on the photos that we've seen.
Yeah, there's a lot of jumping into people, shoulder tackles,
grabbing, bear hugging type things.
Yeah.
And she won, Hannah Mouncey is dominating, won the LGBTQ Sports Person of the Year award in Australia. And so here's my question, Matt. Not only do I love looking at the photos because Hannah, previously Caleb, is just way more enormous than every other woman. And by the way, I don't know if you know this, but there's a weight limit for women's handball that Hannah is suing to get rid of because Hannah had to lose, I think it was 225, had to drop weight to make the weight limit. Because normally you think, okay, women's handball, what's the weight limit? 225. That's not going to affect anybody except for an obese woman who can't play handball.
Right.
Because your handball ladies are probably running about 120. And so Hannah had to is suing to get rid of the weight limit, calling it sexist or transphobic, because it prevents presumably large men who become women from playing women's handball.
Well, having a weight limit, I mean, they should get rid. No competitive team sport should have a weight limit. I mean, it's either you're too fat and slow to play, or you can play.
I think it's probably designed to stop men from becoming women who are huge and playing women's handball. So literally, Hannah,
it's like the Kareem dunk rule. Like they made this rule as soon as Caleb started to.
Well, no, she couldn't play last year. She wasn't allowed to play last year because she weighed too much. So she was out for her first season, and then she had to drop like 15 pounds to weigh in. So there was a hormonal level. She had a problem reaching the hormone level, and then also at the same coordinated with that was her weight limit. So it's a amount of estrogen you have to have in your body, and then there's a weight limit. And the weight limit, right, doesn't make any sense, but I think it was just to stop her from being the fucking Godzilla of women's handball.
Yeah.
But here's a question. So, I mean, the feminists are really in a quandary here because feminists are for women's sports, Title IX, opportunities for women that men can't invade the space of women. Women need special protection, special rules, special games, special teams, all that kind of stuff, which I think at this point most people have agreed is at least okay. But now you have giant men like Caleb Mouncey becoming Hannah and dominating female sports. And eventually in college they're going to take female scholarships. They're going to stop women from being able to win gold medals or compete. There's the Australian weightlifter who was a guy who became a female weightlifter who's just winning everything. So I think fucking women are like feminists are going to come up against trans activists in the fucking battle of the ages very soon.
Yeah, I mean, because I've said all along, there is a lot of money to be made, and if you're a poor guy in Watts, and you're good enough to play D2 basketball, but you're not good enough to play overseas or make the NBA, you can easily make the WNBA by calling yourself Sarah.
Yes.
And
although this will really happen if the WNBA gets its way, gets paid more. Right now they get paid so shitty. No one's going to want to spend $100,000 on surgery for a $50,000 salary.
Yeah.
But you're right. At least, even if they have earnest intentions, even if like Caleb really felt trapped in a man's body, and became a woman, he's still a woman with male muscle, previous male muscle mass, male muscle memory, all these other things we went through that like men who become women have advantages athletically over women.
Yeah, like bone density is a big one.
Bone density, and you can only take the estrogen only does so much to counterbalance that. So, and they still, by the way, at the end, 6'2", 220.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, he's a giant man who's taken some estrogen, but that's like, take the inverse of that. So if LeBron James had been, weaned on estrogen his whole life, and then all of a sudden for the next 2 years he started taking testosterone, would he be LeBron James or would he look like Chris Tucker? It's obviously like to act like you just in this last year, or I guess for Hannah a few years ago, started with the estrogen. It's like, dude, you were a giant hulking man.
Yeah,
that's a big guy. It's an NFL, average NFL sized guy.
It's not like you were, as you say, it's not like you were born a boy, then early in your life you began estrogen treatments and hormonal treatments and surgeries and became a girl by 12 and you played girl sports and came up as a girl. That'd be different. But I just look at the way girls throw.
Yeah.
We all know girls can't throw. They just can't throw a football or a baseball properly.
Right.
It's because of just the whole anatomical makeup of women that you cannot throw a baseball or football like a guy can. So if a guy is 25 and he's been throwing a baseball or football or handball in Australian handball, and then all of a sudden becomes a woman, after all those years of throwing and running and jumping like a guy, they're going to have a huge advantage over the women who still are throwing with their elbow and not their shoulders for whatever reason.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess in the U.S., maybe outside of the Olympics, just there is not a women's sport that anyone cares about whatsoever.
No.
But maybe like UConn women's basketball is in Tennessee, I think, are always on TV when they have nothing else to show. So if that team was taken over by, guys calling themselves women or guys who identified as women,
yes,
they're obviously still going to be the best players by far if they play basketball.
Yeah, because why else would you, unless you're a really good male athlete, why would you become a female athlete all of a sudden when you became a woman?
Right.
They're all former athletes. You're seeing this. And like I think you said, it's not a large number of people, obviously, yet. And it may even never become a huge number of people, but it will be the best people on the team. And they will get the most media attention. And they will win the Sports Person of the Year awards and the gold medals. So, I mean, there's that girl, Meg, whatever her name was, down in Texas, who winning all the wrestling matches.
Right.
So it's not like they're going to, yes, there may not be a lot of them, but they're not going to be like coming 85th. They're going to come in first. So there's going to be an issue.
Well, and obviously it's trending upwards. Like people being, raised and growing up right now are a lot more likely to think that they are that they have gender dysphoria,
yes,
and that 20% of people are simply born into the wrong body, or however you want to like phrase that cosmically. Because Hannah, see, I had initially thought she was just gaming the system, because there's always going to be people that do that, but it's just not going to be a significant number because most people have some semblance of pride or.
Well, also you don't want to fuck up your entire well-being and body doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
not for Australian rules, Australian handball money. It's probably not huge,
right? But I'm just saying, like, there's people that are gonna check a minority box on an application.
Oh hell yes!
Like Mindy Kaling's brother saying he's black, and or Elizabeth Warren maybe.
I always put Hispanic, by the way. Just because they always says no one checks, no one looks. This is just for secretive reporting or whatever.
Yeah,
just in case I put Latino.
Yeah, well, I'm like, well, what do you need it for then?
Yes.
By the way, but when you listen to Hannah talk, who's actually the thing that really weirds me out is this is an intelligent, articulate person.
Yes.
who believes something that is so insane and really believes it. Like this guy, Hannah, now maybe a guy with more estrogen than most, really believes that because they, changed their name and took a few little steps, that they are as much a woman as the 110-pound chick who's guarding her.
Who they're tackling. I know. It's just, it is like LeBron going to play middle school and just dunking on everybody, right? I mean, that's just like the old, like an Adam Sandler routine or Will Ferrell routine of just going to play like fifth graders and just dominating them in your face, yelling in your face over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, how can you can see the photos and we'll have some, we'll post them, but like you can see, like, how can you feel good about yourself playing against somebody who's half your size and a chick, if you might consider yourself born, a woman in a man's trapped in a man's body?
I don't know.
It's just not competitive. It's not competitive at all.
And I predict that the next Olympics, the rules are they're still trying to figure this thing out, and it's going to get a lot more murky and a lot more convoluted. But see, Russia and China, they treat their people like shit.
Yes.
So they're like, we don't really give a fuck if you're embarrassed to be competing as a woman when you're clearly a guy. You're going to do that.
Yeah.
And you're going to say you identify as a woman, and we're going to give you just enough estrogen to pass the test.
And we know they'll do that because they did the reverse with female athletes before. They forced them to take testosterone so they could win all their female competitions before the era of testing.
Yeah.
They forced those. I mean, you could look at all the sad documentaries. They forced those women to just funnel testosterone down their tubes so they could win all the weightlifting and strength competitions.
Yeah.
And they all had horrible lives. They all became like manly after that, horrible lives and stuff like that. But you're right, they didn't give a shit.
Yeah, and so now Russia's going to have all these, dudes winning all the women's medals, and the feminists in this country are going to be like, can't really say anything.
Well, that's the issue, right? The feminists are like, so if you're a feminist, you have to be pro-transsexual or transgender. I mean, that's just sort of the club you're in. You can't be a female activist and be transphobic. That wouldn't fly. First of all, the trans activists are the most brutal activists in the entire country right now, so that wouldn't fly at all. But now you have these men becoming women and taking potentially college scholarships, dominating Olympic sports, dominating college sports, and you hear this a lot now, starting to leak out. These women who are feminists are really angry about this.
Yeah,
but they're in a fucking rock and a hard place because they cannot say to Hannah Mouncey, "You're not a real woman." I mean, we protect women, but you're not a real woman. That would cause a huge rift.
Well, that's what happened. Is it Wesleyan? Is that the all-female school?
Yes. Is it? I don't know if that's all female. Wellesley.
Thank you. The student government is being taken over entirely by trans
Is
women.
it really?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
it's just guys that were, by the way,
That's awesome.
that were guys in high school.
Yes.
So conceivably, you could be some hardcore lesbian at that school, and the dude from the football team is now like the vice president of student affairs, and you're like, but they've painted themselves into this corner, so
they're stuck. Although I can't imagine a sadder thing than being a transgender who wants to be on student council.
No, it's terrible.
Like at least Hannah Mouncey's winning gold medals with the handball. Like I became a woman and now I'm vice president of the student council at Wellesley. Matt, I want to talk about Kevin Hart. So Kevin Hart, somebody found old tweets from Kevin Hart, and they weren't that old, and he did kind of repeat some of the stuff where he made gay jokes, and I don't know if did he say faggot or not? I think he just made.
I thought he said fag.
Probably said fag a few times. The big one he mentioned was how if he came home, Kevin Hart said in 2011, if he came home and found his son playing with girls' dolls, he would smash a dollhouse. He would smash the dollhouse because he doesn't want a gay son.
That's pretty. That's a bit of an overreaction. I mean,
yeah, but I mean,
you see him not wanting a gay son, but if your kid's playing with a dollhouse, does it?
I think he. Well, first of all, it was during
a joke, right?
It was during a joke, so he was telling a joke, so he wasn't like on the Richard Spencer, or like in podcasts, like sharing thoughts about how to be misogynist or homophobic.
Right.
It's just a joke, and you've seen enough. Well, you've seen all comedians, but you've seen enough black stand-up comedians to know that they do some pretty hardcore. Racist stuff, first off, cultural bigotry stuff, homophobia stuff. Before we were taping, I was talking about seeing Eddie Murphy's Delirious again from 82, 83, his first big concert film, where he just goes off and faggot this, faggot that, fucking Mr. T up the ass, you faggot.
It's real weird.
He's
just saying faggot
yes.
and describing butt fucking.
And people are laughing, by the way.
Well, actually, that is a track that they have on that.
Oh, really?
He was basically performing to a silent audience.
I laugh. I mean, I didn't laugh because what he was saying. I laughed just because it's Eddie Murphy and he's just fucking funny.
The one joke where he said, maybe that was in Raw, he's apparently obsessed with this whole gay thing.
Yes.
And hence goes down to the donut shop on Santa Monica.
Yeah, right.
Find a guy in a wig.
He has made 10 children. I'll give him that.
He said, the police are going to come. He makes it. He's like, woo, woo. And he's like, it won't be a siren, just be a real faggot sitting on the car.
Yeah.
It's funny.
It is funny, but I think what people don't understand is like the craziest thing is that people don't understand how bigoted, not just black people, but as a minority group, but black people, minority groups are against other groups.
Mm-hmm.
There's some weird, like, progressive utopian idea that all minority groups stand together, like they're all like united somehow, and like, you know, okay, maybe a lot of them hate Trump or they're mostly Democrats, but the idea that Latinos or Asian Americans or blacks or gays or whatever, that they all stand together in some big civil rights umbrella, and therefore they're all genteel to each other and push for each other's rights.
It's the white upper middle class, I vote Democrat lady with the bumper sticker on her car that all of her friends are rich white women, and she doesn't, just has no concept of how these people actually.
But there's no reason to assume that anyone of any color or culture or background would be more or less racist or homophobic than any other group. There's less black people in this country than there are white people, but by percentage, there's just as many homophobic or bigoted black people as there are white people. And if you've ever spent
probably more,
even more perhaps, but because they're a minority group, it's seen as like, well, they're an oppressed group, therefore they have some license to be a little more oppressive to other people. But the idea that I'm sure you know black comics, they are just homophobic. Like, it's like just black people forgetting comics. Like when I hang around black friends or just hanging out, getting drinks, the gay jokes are just like, there's a huge, speaking of toxic masculinity, there's a huge like overcompensation in the black community as towards you can look at rap and hip hop music and bitches and hoes and how many girls I'm banging and all sorts of shit like that. There's there couldn't be a gay rapper. And then you have the AIDS stats where AIDS went through the black community because nobody was willing to admit that they were actually gay.
Yeah, and sort of treating women like shit, and I don't know. Every other black guy has his angle is I'm the not homophobic black guy.
Yes,
which is like it's a weird angle to take because that does presume that most of the people are homophobic. But it's like I had a gay cousin. We always knew he was gay since he was little. He used to play with the Barbies, and no one ever killed him. That's basically.
I know, right?
Like, okay, well.
Yeah, I don't think they're necessarily Matthew Shepherding people.
Yeah.
I don't think there's no, they're not burning things or beating up gay people and things like that because there's almost no openly gay black. I don't really know any openly gay black people. Maybe at some high level celebrity or actor there is, but it just seems like in the urban community to admit you're gay is like, it's just not, it doesn't happen. It's just it's completely down low.
Yeah, I think you got to move, which is why in San Francisco, West Hollywood, you do see a lot of gay black guys. Because I think a lot of gay black guys, a lot of gay white guys who live in Chicago simply continue living in the community. Whereas I feel these guys are like, I kind of got to get out just for my own peace of mind.
You can't be the black guy in Watts. You can't be the gay guy in Watts.
No, I don't think you can really.
Oakland, you can't be the gay guy in Oakland.
No,
not going to work.
Well, you can, but it's your life just kind of. It's just a constant pain in the ass,
It's a shun, and I think a lot of it comes. Some of it comes from the masculinity of the culture, but also some of it comes from the religious background of the culture, which is deeply religious and heavily Christian.
Ironically, the church basements is where a lot of them do the fucking.
Yes, at some point,
circle.
The AIDS rates were the highest in the black community of any other demographic in the country at one point, and they traced a lot of it to the fact that dudes who were getting married, who were gay, and just going off and seeing gay dudes at the bus stop or the church basement and getting AIDS, and then they can't talk about it or see a doctor about it or admit that they have it because they're down low, and then it just spreads to their wives and everybody else.
Yeah.
Anyhow, that's the sad part. Kevin Hart resigned. I wish he hadn't resigned. He wasn't actually forced to quit. He just resigned when they found these old tweets And there's a couple more that came in 2015 where he made some gay jokes again. He clearly just doesn't like gay people, right? I mean, I don't think he's not going to punch a gay dude or like tell people to go beat up a gay dude or care if a gay dude moves next door. He's just going to be slightly bigoted and tell gay jokes.
I don't know. In his apology video, he said, I like the way he handled it.
Really?
But, well, in that he was like, I'm not going to apologize. I've already apologized. I've already addressed it.
Oh, that part, yeah.
Yeah, I like that part.
I don't like the bullshit when people go like, I've grown. I was only 30 then. Like, I was 30.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Like, so does that mean that he used to be homophobic and now he's changed?
Yeah, it's like,
because
well, he says he's evolved in his thinking, which I think is probably, people do evolve in their thinking, but not that much.
Yeah.
Not really that much. Not after 30.
well, he's in Hollywood. I mean, I don't know.
You
his
might hide it or
whole
learn not to.
trajectory. At the time, he's from Philly, but he's been in Hollywood a while now. I'm sure half the people at CAA that he, work for him are gay, and he's probably been, like anyone who goes and hangs out with the people they hate usually changes their mind.
I don't know if it changes what you learn in Hollywood. I think if you're someone like that is that I can't say certain things. Like I can't do gay jokes anymore. I can't say faggot. Things like that. Just like a guy would come here and learn not to drop N-bombs or make black jokes now because it's just too controversial. Something like that. But between 30 and 40, I don't think your composition of you as a person changes. I think when he sees a gay dude walking by, a joke still hits him in the mind. I wonder how many dicks that faggot takes up. Is that whatever it is? That's your inclination.
Right.
That doesn't change. There's no way that changes. You learn to modify your behavior for the industry or neighborhood you're in.
I think you can learn acceptance.
Really?
I'm pretty cynical, but I think it's possible. Maybe he just didn't know any gay guys before.
Well, they're all secretly gay.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I always have this idea that when people say it was like a youthful indiscretion or I was a kid then, there has to be some cutoff age for that.
Yeah.
Because now people are saying it like about like Sarah Silverman with watching Louis C.K. masturbate. Oh, we were just crazy kids then. Like, well, you were 28, like living on your own in Manhattan. I mean, you weren't just a kid then. You weren't 13 and doing some stupid shit in middle school. There is a difference. I mean, him saying I've evolved since I was 30, like, I don't know. Like,
I would say past high school, honestly. Maybe
youthful indiscretion. You get till 18.
Yeah, once you're in college. I mean, I did a few embarrassing things at that age. I'll own up to them. I mean, it wasn't gay bashing or anything, but it was more.
You were like Mark Wahlberg chasing a Vietnamese around South Boston, yelling "Gooks, go home."
No, I think I just had a bandana and was like a big fan of Ben Harper.
That is very embarrassing. That's worse than beating up Gooks. That's actually awful. But here's the upside of the Oscar hosting thing. Now Oscars are saying they may just go without a host this year.
Are you serious?
Yes, because they literally cannot find. They're so scared to pick a second person to be the host, because the minute they do that, there's going to be people going out there who are just searching for anything they can find. Just like you mentioned, Sarah Silverman and Chelsea Handler jokes, like that Nick Cannon found in 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
They're so scared that like whoever they pick next is going to have something in their past that it's going to be, come up and be controversial, that they'll end up going through an endless line of picks and it'll end up being a fucking clusterfuck.
Well, if that's the case, that we can't find a person
Yes.
to host a show, then something's drastically wrong in this country.
Like, why would you want to be the Oscar host knowing what just happened to Kevin Hart?
Yeah, well, and I bet you that when Kevin Hart was, saying I'm not gonna host or feel free to find someone else, someone in charge of picking was like, well, we'll get Amy Schumer.
Yes.
I guarantee you that was a thought that went through someone's head.
They actually went for Ken Chong, is that his name?
Ken Jeong.
Ken Jeong.
Yeah.
And Whoopi Goldberg was mentioned. Someone said it has to be a woman of color. I don't know. I have no idea why. Only because I guess a woman of color is completely immune to attacks.
Is this up in Vegas yet?
The odds?
Yeah.
No,
because I want to go Neil Patrick Harris. Like,
I don't think it will be a white guy, although he is gay. I don't think it'll be a white guy.
well, how do we go from you insulted gays to we need a black chick? That's
Well,
absurd.
I think the point is that, like, there's a theory in Hollywood that only women of color are sensitive enough to other cultures and genders and sexuality. And the other second more practical thing is that if you're a woman of color, no one can actually make fun of you.
Wanda Sykes.
Wanda Sykes' name was mentioned. She'd be fine too. I mean, the thinking behind this is perverse. You know,
it is.
but you know, she'd actually be funny.
Well,
she'd
and
actually
it's
be funny.
assuming. I mean, the people dragging up these tweets. Like, by the way, if you're not a journalist and you're just cycling through tweets, spelunking, I think they call it for shit that happened 10 years ago, you're a loser. And the only difference between you and Kevin Hart is you've both done things that you probably shouldn't have that you maybe are regretful for. It's just yours. No one gives a shit because no one cares about you. But it's this weird double standard, like to act like everyone in the public eye is perfect or
it's weird.
Almost not a human being. Like, yeah, he said some things that could be construed wrong or maybe a little bit homophobic, but everyone has done something similar or worse. And if you say not, you're a liar.
Well, the only good part was like, as someone pointed that Glad or whatever came out and said, we actually wish Kevin Hart had hosted because it would have been a great opportunity for him to use the forum as a teaching moment.
Which he probably would have done, and it would have been funny or
it would have been horrible.
At least decent.
It would have been horrible. Like, oh great, now the Oscars as bad as they are, now it's going to have teachable moments about gay inclusion and diversity and acceptance. Oh my God, can this thing be any worse? It's a fucking stupid movie award show.
Well, how can they? I don't get how they could not find a person, because every year they have some vanilla dude doing it. Like I think Fallon maybe.
Yeah.
So is the Oscars? So where are those guys? Like, are the Oscars saying, "Oh, we've only hired these total racist homophobes in the past"?
Well, I think the whole idea was to get Kevin Hart because there's been so much black boycott of the Oscars in the last few years, and the idea that black people were not being nominated. So I think they really, I mean, I'm just cynically assuming they're equally cynical and went to find a black guy or black person, and they chose Kevin Hart, who's wildly popular and funny and would have been great. But then now this homophobic thing, because now they're like, now what do we do? Like,
I would love as a legitimate teaching moment if they just got Don Rickles and he just came up and did 20 minutes bashing every ethnicity, every gay person, black person, Irish, English, Asian, whatever.
I do see one issue with that is that he's dead. So
what?
Yes, he died.
Don Rickles is dead?
Yes.
Well, find some other
that might be,
racist guy.
So that's going to be a difficult booking.
I didn't know he was dead.
Yeah, that'd be funny if they did that, but they're not going to. It's going to be, so they're not going to go hostless, which the whole show is so stupid. It just, the way these people like have to contort themselves into fucking circles to like not be offensive and find things that are not offensive, and the fact they'd be concerned about finding old tweets.
Isn't that Jimmy Fallon's whole shtick? Is that he sucks?
I don't. He does suck. I don't know if that's.
I mean,
that's
was Jimmy Fallon ever talking about anything?
Well, Ellen did it for
anything interesting.
Ellen did it for 2 years. I think they could get Ellen. Everyone loves Ellen. Who's going to make fun of Ellen or Oprah or someone like that? I'm not watching this year. Fuck it. Talk about a better person in Hollywood, not Harvey Weinstein. So it's been now, a full year, over a year now since the New Yorker's piece came out, and Weinstein was defrocked as like this scumbag sexual harasser who hired assistants to shoot fucking needles into his dick to make him hard for actresses.
/ really popular guy.
Yes. Oh, super popular guy, humanitarian award winner, LGBTQ award winner, various NAACP awards, stuff. The thing I realized about Harvey Weinstein and Les Moonves both was that they actually were like the two top charitable social organization award winners in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
They were always, if you look at the photos, they were constantly at receiving awards for their
so
generosity.
much pussy at those award shows. Too.
Oh yeah, to rape and out. So that was a year ago. Now, sort of like the Rose McGowan stories, all the other stories where he paid women, or sexually harassed them, or did a tit for tat where he was asking them to watch him take a shower or scrub his back or watch him beat off into a plant if they wanted to get ahead in the industry. Everyone sort of discounted those and said, okay, those aren't crimes. You can't really get him on it. But then these sexual assault claims came out, which are actually felonies, criminal felonies. And he was indicted on several of them in New York. And at the time, everyone thought, okay, this is it. Now he's, Harvey Weinstein, forget the casting couch, this whole casting couch philosophy that these girls wanted and stuff like that. This is sexual assault. They're really going to nail him now. But now, one by one, his defense team, seems to be pointing out, bringing up emails and texts and evidence that each of the women in these separate cases who claim they were assaulted, criminally assaulted by him, seem to have a very close personal relationship even after the time of the assault, and that they all had some sort of business or quid pro quo arrangement with him for something, which in the very least makes a sexual assault case very murky, because if somebody sexually assaults you and then you call them later to hang out, go catch a film, or hey, can I be in your movie, or are you still going to be coming by for lunch next Tuesday? It looks kind of strange.
Yeah, it does. I mean, when you're posing for photos with him and smiling and texting and emailing after the fact and asking for things,
yes,
instead of washing your hands of the situation, Rose McGowan. Yeah, it does. That being said, I don't know. I've never been sexually assaulted. I don't know how one behaves, but I think.
Well, have you been assaulted at all?
Well, I've been threatened. Yeah, I mean, I've been sucker punched.
I mean, I don't think of a guy being getting his ass kicked by somebody, and I can't imagine that later that evening he would call the guy up to get drinks.
No, you wouldn't. You'd be afraid, and yeah, you wouldn't probably.
You'd hold a grudge against that person for the rest of your life, I think, and then try to hurt them back. Maybe at least either ignore them or try to hurt them back.
Well, I guess the defense is this is their livelihood. They needed him
for
work.
In this case, they're not naming the victim in this particular case, but I believe it's Paz de la Huerta, the really messed up nude model / nude actress. So they claim that right after she claims the sexual assault occurred, that later that evening she through her people and herself, I guess, called Weinstein to get tickets to get VIP access to his movie screening, to make sure they could bring all their friends to his movie that night. And they're saying, why would a woman he just raped call and say, hey, Harvey, can I get tickets to the show? I want to make sure I get tickets to the show tonight, all stuff like that. And the prosecution who's trying to convict Weinstein said, obviously they're mocking or don't understand how women who have been sexually assaulted react in those traumatic situations, and they may very well do this cozying up thing after the fact. Mm-hmm. Well, here's the problem: if a woman might cozy up to you and act like your best friend, your BFF, after you rape them, then there's no way to actually show the circumstances around the rape, right?
Right.
Because they're saying, even if she says you're the best guy in the world, she could be mean that she hates you and you're a rapist, but she's just going to say you're the best guy in the world. How would you possibly know the truth if a woman could be friendly to you after a rape and they say that, well, that's normal too after being raped?
Yeah. I mean, if in that case, if we're doing these, what to do if you're sexually assaulted clinics
yes.
on college campuses, it's
which they have 3 times a day.
Don't ask the guy to hang out and see a movie the same night after you took your shower,
Don't write him a letter how great the sex was.
Yeah. I mean, a few of these, and, we don't know, I'm not saying all, but they've already pretty much discredited a few of these Weinstein women as being totally discreditable, right?
Well, I think in the very least what they're showing is that there was a tit for tat relationship, that he was in a sort of a I will give you will suck my dick and I will put you in a movie situation.
But isn't that what everyone assumes?
Yes.
What we all think and kind of deep down know?
Well, so the women are saying that they did not give him permission for this. In this case, they did not give him permission. They didn't say, okay, that's fine, let's do that deal. That he just took advantage. He just fucked them or forced them to give him a blowjob. And in his mind, maybe he was thinking, I'll put her in a movie to make it all right. But they did not agree to that deal. He was forcing the deal.
Well, I can't speak on a case-by-case basis, but in general, I know there's a lot of actresses that say, yes, I will suck your gross dick,
yes.
and then you will put me in a movie. And that's kind of how it's worked for a while.
That's why you want to be a movie producer.
That's why you want to be a producer? And,
yes.
and there's plenty of actresses who will take that, that deal, and there's plenty who won't. But the ones who won't also understand the deal, and they do not go up to the room. And if a dick comes out and they're not into it, they say, yeah, I'm going to leave now.
Yes.
And they don't suck his dick because I don't know what the accusations are. he's a really fat blob.
Yes.
You could punch him in his fat gut and his fucking rubber band would pop off and he'd die of toxic shock.
Is that how that works?
Yeah, I believe so.
Is that a Krav Maga move for
Or-
guys with stapled stomachs?
Well, look, let's give women some agency, because this whole thing of victimization is assuming that women can't, really make their own decisions.
It's very
and act.
anti-feminist.
It is. So you're in the room. He's like, here's my dick. You want to suck it, and I'll give you a part. You go, sure. Let me just run to the bathroom first. Then you fucking leave. All right.
Yes.
Everyone's capable of this. So if you sucked his dick, that's most likely on you. That's what you chose to do. You might regret it later, but that's not assault. That means you're a fucking whore.
That's what the feminist I like, Camille Paglia, says, which is like, you can't have it both ways. Either you're a strong, independent woman who makes her own decisions and can leave when sex is offered to her tit for tat or even pushed upon her, or you're a victim, or you're just not as strong as a man and you're a victim and therefore you're inherently weaker.
Right.
You can't be both. You can't be a strong, independent, gender equal person, but also in these moments then be the complete by nature's law the victim because you're too weak to respond to Harvey Weinstein and his staple stuff and his staple stomach coming after you.
Yeah, I mean
By the way, there's no way he has a stable stomach because he's too fat.
No, he does. He has a
Does he really?
a lap band.
The gastric bypass.
And apparently he ate too much. That's
Really?
gross. But
In front of a woman, did he make like somebody watch them?
I don't know.
Make someone watch him overeats.
But you got. I mean.
Yeah, you can't. That's the issue. Like, I think I don't know what's going to come of these criminal trials because I feel like there's a huge desire to see him get some prison time to be convicted of something. But these assault cases are very. This is like, so you have date rape, which is one thing, which is like, okay, the guy and the girl at college campus are actually on a date or hanging out at a party and making out, and then he starts touching her tits, and she's okay with that, but he tries to go all the way, and she doesn't like that and says that he was raped. That's date rape. You're in the room, you're in the situation, you're alone with the guy making out or whatever. But now you have a situation where there's a business complication.
Yeah.
Where there actually is a casting couch, and he's going to throw this casting couch thing over and over again because there's at least a few guys in the jury who be like, yeah, Harvey, I get you're a pig, but I totally get that these women sort of asked for it.
Yeah, I mean, there's entire porn sites based on this concept. But I mean, you also hear a lot of like, well, so he took his dick out, and I started blowing him because I was afraid of what might happen if I didn't. It's like, okay, well, if he didn't make any threats, because I really wouldn't like for a chick to be blowing me just because she thinks somehow I might decide to have her whacked if she doesn't, even though I never intimated that was on the table. Like, what are you talking about? If someone takes their dick out and you don't want to blow him, you just don't do it. You can't say later like, well, I thought he would have me banned from Hollywood and shit. It's like, okay, well then that's you. Like, that's what you thought. I don't see how it's the guy's fault. Just if you take your dick out, you're pretty sure there's a good chance someone's going to suck it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It usually works out.
Yes. As I said,
The ego can only take so much rejection.
Yeah, the Weinstein bathing thing, it didn't happen by happenstance.
Right.
He did it 100 times, and 99 times it worked.
Exactly.
So, but I never really quite, now that we're on the topic, I never quite understood how you force a woman to give you a blowjob, because it just as a physical thing, it seems very complex.
Yeah.
And also, by the way, then you have somebody who you're assaulting who has your dick in their mouth.
I guess you could put a gun to their head, but
I guess, but I mean, if you're really, he didn't do that, obviously, but if you're actually just like physically forcing her head on your dick, I don't know. I would be very nervous. I don't think I would enjoy. How could you enjoy? I guess you have to be an animal, but how could you really enjoy that moment? I could see the guy, a rapist, on top of a woman, holding her down and just using her sexually.
yeah.
But actually having a woman that you're assaulting acting upon you seems awkward.
It's
awkward.
very kind of voluntary by nature almost.
Yes.
You know what they had? Remember in the
Also, teeth really scare me.
Yeah. Well,
It's always those horror movies where the woman bites off the guy's dick that scares me.
well, have you ever had from a girlfriend or whoever a blowjob where she made it obvious she wasn't into it and was just sort of doing it to get it over with?
I'm going to say yes.
Kind of like, yeah, all right, we'll do this, but like I'll mow the lawn, but I'm going to leave a few patches out there just to let you know, like I'm
like
not
the
real.
DJ Khaled of women blowjob givers. Yeah, of course. I mean, I think. Well, yes, before marriage. You know, may I tell you that one cliche Jewish joke I know? What is the one food that when a Jewish woman eats it, she never again wants to give a blowjob?
Wedding cake?
Yeah, wedding cake.
That's funny.
I do like that. Yeah, but so Weinstein's going to get off, I think, on everything, and I think it's because, you know, it's going to be horrible, and everyone's going to talk about how it's patriarchal, and the men have set this shit up, and men can't be convicted of assault, and all this stuff like that. But these are dirty relationships, and perhaps they're unfair to men, although there's more indication now that women in positions of power are doing the same thing to men, forcing young men into, like, you know, advantageous career situations or whatever they can, money or things like that, by offering them sex. So it's just the nature of being an older person with money and power and being fucking horny. I mean, you're trading. I mean, what's a trophy wife? You know, or trophy husband, I guess, for an older lady. It's just someone you're giving economic advantage to, or some advantage to have sex with someone they wouldn't normally have sex with.
Right.
It's really no different. I think Harvey Weinstein gets off and becomes a saint. Although the idea that he's sending emails out trying to get back into Hollywood, that will never happen.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's trying to redeem his. He's doing like his defense argument to important people in Hollywood, trying to get back in play.
I have a few scripts I could.
Wouldn't bother me at all.
Wouldn't mind being produced.
I mean, I'm not going to watch him beat off into. I'd watch him beat off into a plant to get produce my movie.
Yeah,
as long as there's no touching, I could put up with. You know, I've seen some horrible things in my life. I could put up with most things.
You wouldn't do the penis injection?
No, inject his penis? No, I don't do anything touching, injections, no penis stuff.
I think I would do anything that wasn't skin to skin contact.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
I'm not gonna take it. I don't. The idea of putting a needle in his dick.
I'm drawing the line at the needle. It's almost a medical procedure.
Like if he says, "Come to my room," you're gonna watch me shower, and then I'm gonna make your movie. I'd be like, okay.
I would do that.
I'd be like, that's disturbing, but sure.
Do you have his email address?
It beats beating the bushes around Hollywood for 3 years trying to raise money and going to meet with Russia. Matt, what's the hardest thing a woman has to do, a celebrity female woman has to do this day and age?
Give birth.
Give birth. Yes, that's a good. Give birth or raise, like Jessica Biel, raise a child.
Or find like organic zucchini at the farmer's market.
I don't. So this is what. So here's. Everyone has to be a victim. Everyone has to be an oppressed person in Hollywood these days. So you have to find something to be oppressed about. And if you're like sort of a wealthy white actress or female celebrity, you're kind of fucked. Because during the Clinton, what I noticed was during the 2016 campaign, like women went out there and Madonna and all these, you know, women worth $100 million who fucking sleep with guys half their age and do whatever the fuck they want and travel around in private jets and own mansions, had to find some sort of oppression. So they did the whole women's movement. Like, we just by having a vagina, I'm oppressed. You're trying to take my abortion rights away. You're trying to pay me less than men. I'm Madonna, or I'm Amy Schumer, or I'm some other Lena Dunham, or I'm whatever I am. And even though I get paid $8 million a year to do nothing, I'm oppressed.
Right.
And I think after 2016, like all the minorities started going like, wait a minute, you're rich white women and you're not really oppressed like we're oppressed. Like I'm a Honduran refugee female, and I'm actually way more oppressed than you are, Amy Schumer.
Yeah, if Amy Schumer's oppressed, then the rest of the world would be dead. There'd only be like 10,000 people left on Earth.
I think it was the breakup of the Pantsuit Nation on Facebook when all the black women left because they realized that all the Ivy League vaster educated white women who were running the group did not have the same problems they had as women. Even as women, they had different problems. Those are a lot of them were single mothers, holding down multiple jobs, trying to pay the rent. And all the Pantsuit Nation women were talking about was always abortion, of course, which a lot of black women, by the way, and minority women aren't into. And other issues of like, if I'm a VP of so-and-so at a marketing agency, why am I making less than this VP? Or if you're Jennifer Lawrence, why am I making $13 million per movie when Bradley Cooper's making $14 million a movie?
Right.
And they were like not finding a lot of passion in that. So I think what women have done is, what these women have done is they tried to find since 2016 a new channel to show all the hardcore obstacles they have to overcome in their lives as women. So they picked pregnancy because it's something only women can do, and men will never understand how horrible how much work it is or how horrible it is.
Yeah,
and
it's something men can't really talk about without being looked at as
Right.
total asshole.
And it allows them to equate themselves to black and Asian and Latina women because they all share that common experience of going through childbirth and raising infant children. So it allows them to say, I am just like you. Look, my vagina is all torn up from pregnancy. Amy Schumer's been posting herself vomiting during her pregnancy. Look, I'm just like you. The story a couple of days ago was Kat Von D, the famous tattoo artist, which is the thing, had a baby, but she was unable to provide breast milk to the child for some. They always have some obscure reason. It used to be always Lyme disease, some obscure reason. So she needs to beg for breast milk because she will not do formula, but it has to be vegan, provided by a vegan woman. So she's complaining about how hard it is to find vegan donated breast milk.
You know what's ironic about that?
Yes.
I just realized is breast milk is not vegan.
No.
So
No.
right there, I
Yes.
mean, it's kind of logically you're kind of fucked, right?
Because it's the milk of a mammal.
Yeah, it's not vegan.
No.
Breast milk is not vegan. Your kid's not vegan if they're drinking breast milk.
That's a good point. They would have to be having some sort of like a plant-based formula of some
Well, you
kind.
couldn't do that because your kid would die.
They would probably die, and after they were dead, they would hate you even more. So the stories are popping up, and we remember the Jessica Biel story about how she had to eat her apple sausage in the shower because she was so busy as a working mother works. Alyssa Milano with being nursing shamed and didn't care that people saw her nursing at work, which her work, by the way, is taking some photos for, whatever Glamour magazine,
Yeah.
And so it's working mom, it's a busy mom, it's vomiting during pregnancy, it's Serena Williams almost died. I almost died.
A lot of
giving
talk
birth.
about sacrificing the career,
Yes.
finding the balance between family and having a job, and
fake shit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, stuff that real other women have to actually deal with that they actually themselves don't have to deal with in relations and stuff like that. I just find this sickly, very sickly. Like, I remember like I grew up in a Catholic neighborhood. I mean, there were so many moms with like so many fucking kids, like, and the moms were just shredded. Like you could see the moms; they were just shredded. They looked like they'd been to they'd gone through World War I like 5 times. They were all fat. They were all like dumpy. Their skin was all sallow. They had breastfed like 8 kids. They were like trying to like make lunch sandwiches. They were up all night with babies. They were way too old to be first they were way too young to be having babies, and they were way too old to be having babies.
right.
Because they just didn't believe in birth control. So they were just having kids up the wazoo, and they were 40 years old and looked like they were fucking death warmed over.
I don't get what's wrong if you're Amy Schumer. Like, it used to be lifestyles of the rich and famous. Amy Schumer
Yes.
lives in a mansion,
Yes.
has a boat which she takes out on the ocean.
7 nannies could prepare her the breakfast for her child.
7 nannies.
Yeah.
Has,
They did. They used to, that was the 80s. That was the Reagan 80s, right?
has no worries in the world.
Dynasty and Falcon Crest and Dallas and all those shows that like celebrated excess.
Well, I don't like the excess part, but I like the part of admitting that you have a good life.
Yes.
And that you don't have any real problems. I mean, everyone has problems, obviously, just because you're wealthy, fairly well-off celebrity. That doesn't mean you don't have any problems, but your problems are
smaller.
My accountant might be shaving some money off the top.
Yes.
Or, I'm still not happy. I'm still pissed about that thing that happened when I was a kid. But just inventing shit just so you can, gain sympathy with other people. I don't know the point other than maybe it's a way to for people to identify with you, so that helps your brand or whatever.
I don't think it's your brand. I think it's social bubble at this point, reputation.
Yeah.
I think it's a way of like at some point, whatever the shit you're talking about from the 80s definitely changed. Like that lifestyles of the rich and famous is now like lifestyles of the victimized and oppressed. So to fit in Hollywood now, you have where everyone is complaining about how the suffering of this and the suffering of that. You have to have a story of suffering. And when you live in a $20 million house and you work 3 months out of the year and you go to Pilates and go to cold juice in the morning and have nannies and housekeepers, what the hell are you going to, maybe you get cancer or something rarely, but what are you going to complain about?
And it's all general malcontent. Like even I don't watch the Kardashian show, but I've seen parts of it and it's like, I just don't know if the guy delivers the juice at the wrong time or something. Like they're complaining.
Yes.
They're not just like, they have nothing to complain about.
No.
Outside of, well, I would say they have a lot to like reflect upon, but that's not what the show's about. The show's, it's always people feeling so downtrodden, and I don't know why. Probably just because America's dying. I don't know. I think there's just a dark cloud hanging over the whole country. And
I don't think I know a lot of people feel that way. I don't feel that way. I think what's happened is in the last 30 or 40 years, we always joke about how like strict adults used to be and teachers and coaches and how they tell you to shut the fuck up all the time and nobody cares about your problems. In the last 30 years or so, we decided that like it was actually important for children, but also for adults to express themselves, like to have a voice and not be clam up and not keep their problems to themselves and share and share and share, and that they have merit, that their feelings had merit. And what did we learn when people started expressing themselves? That people are just bitchy. That people really just like, when you give someone a forum to talk about themselves, mostly what they do is bitch. That's just sort of like, they're not there. If they were inspirational people, they'd be naturally inspirational people. If they were naturally positive, they'd be naturally positive. The kids who become adults who weren't speaking before are just complaining now. They're just, what they were hiding was an endless series of complaints about shit or rants about shit or hate about stuff or whatever it is. I mean, it's just like when you get those secret audio tapes of people, like when they're caught like saying things off the cuff, it's always ugly.
Yeah. And there's also, that's true. There's also a correlation of the, express your problems and don't hold anything in. Like that's a, that's the good neighborhood school with the new age teacher. The teacher in the hood is like, yeah, shut the fuck up. You're going to have to go to work at some point.
Yes.
And, your dad just got back from the electrical company. He works 16 hours a day. You guys live in a shithole. He doesn't want to fucking hear it.
Yes.
He's not encouraging you to, let your feelings be
No,
heard.
the whole Facebook culture of like, what are men sometimes, but women especially, write about something happened to them. They got a flat tire. Something happened. Their fucking hairdo fell apart. Their nails didn't work. The dress they ordered didn't come in time, and some event didn't go right. And then all these women go like, "Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. Oh, honey, that's horrible. Oh God. Oh, MG. Oh, you're like absolutely horrible." Like it's just a culture of like sharing small dismissive complaints, and then people acknowledging your suffering as a form of like nobility in some way.
Yeah, and ironically, it's the people that have all this idle time. It's almost a privilege to be oppressed at this point. I mean, it's if you're working, you have some complaints, but I don't know, you're not on Twitter all day talking about how difficult your life is because you're living your life. You're trying to improve your life. It really is like if you just did a survey, I guarantee you, like in terms of, especially among women are convinced that their lives are much harder than men. Yes. I don't know why, because they're markedly easier. But
wow. Have you ever given birth to a child and almost died like Serena Williams? Or had to vomit before you go on stage like Amy Schumer, or had to find vegan breast milk like Kat Von D?
I have not, but I've had to look for a job before.
Yes.
If you just did a survey of how difficult do you think your life is, I almost guarantee among women it would be with how difficulty on the y-axis and income on the x. It would gear towards the wealthier women believing they are the most oppressed, or that their lives are the most difficult.
I think it is relation to idle hands. I mean,
yes,
idle hands being the devil's. I think human beings were never meant to be idle. Like, if you think about it, through the first 99.9% of human history, everyone had to work their ass off to survive. So they didn't have any downtime. There was no downtime. And I think once downtime started coming around, you had two choices. You could zone out on TV or entertainment, or just complain, because people were not meant to have they're just not meant, like the whole theory, like how all these illnesses that people have now didn't exist before because people died at 35. Mm-hmm. So, and so they talked about, I don't know if I mentioned, I talked to a psychologist about midlife crises. And he said that the midlife crises is because human beings were never meant to live this long. So like at 40 years old, men it's not that they're having a midlife crisis. It's just like Their brain is 5 years older than it was ever meant to be, and they don't know the human brain doesn't know how to function. Like, what am I supposed to do now? Because it was supposed to be like work your ass off, then die, right? And now you're like 40, and maybe you have some money, you have some downtime, your weekends are free, whatever else it is, and you're just not. You have no idea what to do with yourself, and so you just become depressed and buy a Porsche and fuck younger. Women, it's such a bad thing. But like that literally is it. I think downtime, I think a lot of these women, more so than the men in some cases, have this downtime, and look what they're doing with it. They're spending it complaining to one another, talking about the cataclysmic end of the world, talking about their little problems like it goes on, it's endless. Talking about a pregnancy as if it's like, going through fucking fighting Iwo Jima, like comparing it to a vet, like a World War II vet. Announcing that everything that happens in the world is the worst thing that's ever happened. Talking about being too depressed to leave their homes because they don't like who the president is or something like that. It's just like you have too much time on your hands.
Yeah, and I guess everyone needs a struggle,
Yes.
even if you invent it, just to otherwise what is really to get you up in the morning?
Yes,
probably nothing.
Even those like those ladies that do the anti-vax people, I think they invent those straw men. In a way, they sort of like that Munchausen. They invent that straw man, like protecting my child. I'm saving my child. This is my cause to save my child and all children from this vaccine. And a good portion of that must be just a sense of like have meaning in their lives. Like they're doing this to provide. Like I want to be the champion of something. I want to be the champion of something. So I'll glom onto this cause, regardless of the science, and just sort of be way into it.
Yeah, and especially if you have no other. If you have no other passion, if you're not driven by your job or some kind of passion that you have, whatever it might be pottery, it might be politics.
I thought women used to play racquetball.
There you go. Be the champion of your.
I thought women used to play
YMCA.
racquetball. I remember this whole story. My mom, after I had all these kids, and I remember like she finally got out from under like having so many little kids. And I remember like she never ever did anything for herself, right? This is, I'm sure moms are like this. All the moms are like this. She never did anything for herself. But at one point she announced like just the kids were finally like able to take care of themselves a little bit. She's going to play racquetball.
Okay.
And we thought, what the fuck are you going to play? What the fuck are you going to play racquetball for? That's all she could. That's all she could think of. And she found a like-minded mom, and they're going to play racquetball, and that's going to be the thing to like really be like. My me time is racquetball. I'm going to drink or do anything else or party or anything like that. So racquetball. And they played like once or twice and they gave up. I was like, what happened? What happened? I just didn't like racquetball. It was just a bad choice. It's just a bad choice.
Yeah.
Like guys pick up golf. But I think that's how she looked at it. Like, I'm going to do this thing, but I can't play golf. So I would do racquetball. And that was big at the time in the area. There were the racquetball clubs.
Yeah, my mom has she has the marathon.
Yeah,
which is once a year, so you do it. You got the whole year to look forward to it. But it's so cute when you
get
finish.
It's serious though.
Yeah, I mean it's a real accomplishment. And when you finish, this was the Honolulu marathon. I don't know how most marathons work. They give everyone that finishes a medal. That's a big medal.
Wow, check you out. Did you get one?
Oh yeah,
you got a little medal.
I got a medal, but it's a sense of accomplishment.
I think
everyone needs it.
Yes, I think you need something outside of your work and everything else to do. But I wouldn't recommend racquetball. Matt, it's time for our Last Man on the Earth Persons of the Year award. Time Magazine gave out their. Here's the thing about Time Magazine. Time Magazine is such a shitty. First of all, Time Magazine is only like 4 pages now. If you've seen the recent one, it's down to about 20 pages and 18 are ads. They literally do no report anymore. They'll have like 3 stories per magazine. I assume it's just going away forever at some point soon.
And the stories are like a really low reading level.
Yes.
I can't believe they're still like real full of themselves about the value of their publication because it's straight trash.
I mean, at some point, Time was the news magazine of record, right? Mm-hmm. The weekly magazine 50 years ago of record in this country and other places around the world. And now it's just it's a low rent kind of thing. But they still have the Time Person of the Year. And this year they gave it to 4 or 5 other, one newspaper outlet in Maryland where the shooting took place, an independent newspaper, and then 4 Khashoggi and 3 other journalists who've been killed or detained doing their journalism around the world, dangerous journalism. Mm-hmm. I thought, well, it's a little ironic that Time Magazine, which no longer does important journalism of any kind, is giving their award to actual real journalists.
That's a good point.
Like, could you have hired those people and put them in your magazine? Like, okay, we do shitty work now, but look who's doing really good work that deserves to be called out.
Right.
I mean, that's super fucking embarrassing. Like, I don't think they even realize that. They're actually pointing to good journalists, and these people deserve awards, whereas we don't have those people any. We don't
journalists
have these people
who risk their lives for important stories.
Yes.
And then we have an article about, how to find the cheapest coupons for the grocery store.
The romaine lettuce scare.
Yeah.
The romaine lettuce scare. So this is our last Man on the Earth persons of the year. We're gonna do 3. I asked you to come with your list. It can be loosely defined why you thought these were the 3 most important people or people concepts of the year, I suppose. So I'm interested to hear yours. We'll go back and forth. Let's start with your number 3.
Number 3, Melania Trump.
Interesting.
Just a vapid zero, a total loser of a human being. Not a respectable person by any stretch of the imagination.
I believe you officially called her an escort.
Oh, she was an escort.
Yes,
Yeah,
she was. I just meant you officially called her an escort, like in a publication.
Yeah, because she's a former hooker.
She hooked. Yes.
But it seems to be. I don't know why she's ignored, and no one brings up the fact that she's terrible. So when
what about what's her program called? Be good. What the hell is it called?
I don't know. She butchered the English, whatever it is.
I like that she butchered it and they didn't bother to change it because nobody wanted to offend her. Be better. I think it's called Be Better.
It used to be. All right. So Donald Trump is a disgusting man.
Whoremonger.
Whatever you think of his politics,
Yes.
which I believe are horrendous and hateful.
He's a gross dude.
He's shouting out to the white nationalists all the time. But apart from that, personally, he is repugnant.
You would not want your sister dating him.
No. Paying off porn stars and whatnot. And it used to be, so in the mafia, they have this thing like, we'll go after you, but your family's off the table, right?
Right. Civilians off limits.
Cannot go after the kids or the wife. And I agree with the kids, but not with the wife part anymore, because it's 2018 and, women are the head of all these households, and they are professional people just like men. And I don't think that if you're committing a series of crimes, whatever it might be, serial rape, corporate crime, extortion, whatever, that your wife doesn't know about it. I think she does.
Well, what about the dumb hooker wife? You got to give her a little discredit or discredit to the fact that she may not be aware of a lot's going on.
All right,
sophisticated.
I
stuff.
get that, and
it's not like the Clintons. This is not a Clintons.
Yeah, but she's probably dumb. But in that case, it's like, okay, so if you're on the left, right, you attack Trump a lot. Why does she get a pass? She's wearing all the clothes that his exploits have afforded. And if you want to claim, like, later on when he's convicted of multiple crimes, and this could be any woman, but I think Melania is the best example. Okay, well, now you're aware of it. Give back the money. You're profiting off of unethical activity, and you're wearing your ridiculous. You look like a fucking moron with all these clothes you're wearing that everyone can look up, and it's like, oh, you're pretending to garden as a 50-year-old adult woman. So you have your gardening outfit, and it costs the shoes are $200.
She sounds almost like she's your female Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, she kind of is. She's extremely hateable, but and showing up to this detained kids camp with a jacket that says "I don't care" and then pleading ignorant about it. Like, I just think because she's a woman,
yes,
that she gets a huge pass on all these things, and no one's giving Trump Jr. a pass.
No.
I mean, he's related.
Well, he's actually working in the. At some.
Well, that's
high
another thing.
level.
Yeah, he has a job. He contributes. Well, he doesn't.
Well, but
contribute
he's
to
working.
society,
He
but-
worked. I think people give her. Honestly, I think the only reason people give her a pass is because she seems really dumb. Like if Hillary Clinton was smarter than Bill, Hillary Clinton's a very. I don't like her at all, but she's a very smart woman.
Yeah.
She was concocting at least half or more of the plans of the White House.
Yes.
When Bill was president, I don't get the feeling Melania is really. They give her like knitting, and then they let her say something, and then they all laugh as she leaves.
Maybe, but that's still a problem in this. We're a feminist, pro-feminist society.
Yes.
So if women have all this agency and they're just as they're always the brains behind the operation. That's what everyone always says. It's a cliche, Well, she's the real genius in all this. Okay, well, whatever. Then let's start holding the wife of these disgusting men accountable, because let's not forget they're married and she sucks them off.
Oh, not to end with that. Not hard enough. All right, so you're allowing the Goombas to shoot her, to shoot the women, the wives again? Not the kids, but the wives?
She's just as much a pig as her husband.
Really?
That goes for every
I don't know.
wife.
Well, I am sexist, so I think that I blame the man more than the woman.
Yeah, you are sexist.
Well,
see?
because he's the buyer of the product, she's the product. So I have a hard time blaming the product, as it were. Like if someone gets obese, drinking soda all the time, I have a hard time when people get angry at the soda.
Yeah,
it's kind of like that.
I get it, but we can't have it both ways. We either have to, believe that women are very equal,
Yes.
and in which case they have to be equally considered gross.
All right, my pick. I went anti-misogynist, Matt. Sorry. My pick for number 3 was Jeff Bezos.
Okay.
Because Jeff Bezos to me is the biggest wolf in sheep's clothing.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow he has managed to, while becoming worth $100 billion and dominating different municipalities he's ripping off, and basically owning the federal government, and getting deals from the United States Postal Service, somehow avoiding state taxes, and building a business that's all-encompassing and destroying every single mom-and-pop retailer in the country, none of which I have a huge problem with. He's managed to build a reputation as this sort of new age, emo, happy-go-lucky dude, you and I, just like you and I. They got nice guy on the block.
Kind of got lucky.
Yeah, kind of got lucky, just Stan from down the block who, wants to come over and help you, help you fix your planter boxes and whatever else. He's managed to somehow, as the richest sort of tycoon / mega monopoly dominator in the world, and Zuckerberg to a lesser extent, I think Bezos to a smarter extent, he's managed to pull off this reputation of being benevolent, kindly, low-key, mildly inspirational guy next door.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how he did that, because I assume when the doors close, he just goes fucking nuts and just has people murdered, and just has a plan on the wall that says world domination by 2025, and with bullet holes going through people he doesn't like.
Well, if he's shaping his whole persona, I mean, how much media does he own at this point? Because that can help.
I know
he owns the Washington.
He owns the Post, which is interesting, and I guess he's going to be buying more. And he controls every single shopping transaction pretty much in this country at this point.
Mm.
He bitch slapped New York City and DC / Northern Virginia in the headquarter thing. We got all this money. He's apparently shoveling money around DC, all these lobbyists, to make sure they never do any sort of monopoly shit against him.
And if he's so progressive, by the way, build that thing in Charlotte.
Yeah, that's right.
And flip the whole state, because everyone that comes to work there is going to be a techie from San Francisco.
Well, there's word he's buying real estate. He's buying up real estate around the headquarters too, to make even more money, because knowing the real estate prices are going to vault up, he's doing deals where he's getting exclusive rights to the real estate around there. So he'll be building malls and residential things like that for his very own employees, everyone else. Not to mention we know they pay shitty to lots of stuff. They have those minimum wage workers working all these different jobs.
Oh yeah, the warehouses are kind of inhumane conditions.
Yeah, and again, I don't mind the fact all that free laissez-faire, free market, tycoon, railroad baron type stuff. But those barons were demonized. They were seen as like the average person on the street hated those guys.
Right.
They controlled the state, the western states especially, but they were seen as evil guys. Portrayed in books and later on in movies as guys with evil mustaches. They would twitch around and high hats that stepped on poor people, and everyone hated their guts and would spit on them when they walked by. Whereas Bezos is one of the highest ranked guys in the country when they asked about people you admire and so forth. So I'm giving it to Bezos, because I think he's done one of the most remarkable public relations jobs ever for a evil rich guy.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. It's person of the year. All right, what's your number 2, Matt?
Number 2, I have Gavin Newsom.
Gavin.
Recently.
Oh yes, Gavin Newsom,
elected governor of California.
You must love him.
No, not really. And so I picked him because in this climate that we're in of fake news, and no one seems to trust any kind of source, and people just cite whatever backs up their pre-existing opinion. it's weird to me because information's never been easier to attain. It's never really been easier to verify a given fact or discount a certain fact.
You think so?
Well, if it's specific enough. I mean,
Like a non-part, like a scientific fact, perhaps.
no, any kind of
Really?
fact. Like,
You think it's easy to get solid information? I mean, I guess if you trust the source, it's easy to find information from
I
that
mean,
source.
it's easy. It's easy to get the information to whittle out what's accurate and what's
Okay.
not. And I mean, I'm not saying like, I don't like people always say things that you can easily verify are not true. Like they'll say, well, Democrats run the budget up more than Republicans,
Oh, I see what
and
you're
you can
saying.
actually pretty easily find that it's kind of the opposite.
Well,
And
if
it's
there's
not
a
that hard.
source that you trust, yes, because you'll find multiple sources spewing all sorts of stuff on all sides.
Well, I'm just going with the government usually.
okay.
That
Right.
does the actual accounting.
Yes,
Um,
relatively okay.
but
How's that lead you back to the empty suit that is Gavin Newsom?
So he's basically Trump, Donald Trump. We could have done Trump, but I think Newsom's just as accurate as an example because he's a Democrat and Trump's a Republican. So during the debate, Trump said, "I got $1 million from my father, small loan, and I turned in all this money." So the New York Times just did an investigation with documents that are you can't say are not true unless you're the biggest conspiracy theorist of all time. And we found out his dad gave him $400 million. He squandered it to put his money to put his name on buildings and totally fucked it up and just like a dumbass fucking idiot would do. But if you're a Trump supporter, this has gone way over your head. You have no idea that this happened, or if you are aware,
don't
you just
care.
say it's bullshit. It's not
Right.
true. So Gavin Newsom, I've heard him do interviews for a few years now as lieutenant governor, and he has this origin story about being he had a single mother.
Yes,
And he was, he insinuates that he had sort of a disadvantaged upbringing. He never explicitly really says that, but it's a lot of single mother and, I had to, I was a latchkey kid. He actually says that.
Yes.
Okay. His dad was the lead counsel for Getty Oil. His
Yes.
dad, who recently passed away, was one of the wealthiest lawyers in the country. So he never mentions that. But he does mention, so after college, I started a wine store with my friends.
Plum Jacks or Plum Jacks.
Oh, yeah, you're from that area.
Yes.
So, most non-wealthy people don't start a wine store.
Gastro
right?
pubs and wine stores. Yes.
So the friend that he started the wine store with was the son of another lead counsel of Getty Oil.
Oh, I thought it was actually Getty himself. Oh, he started with that guy, but the money came from Getty.
I'm sorry. Was the
Gordon Getty.
maybe he started with a Getty? I think.
Yeah.
Is what
Well, he got
happens.
money. The Getty he knew. I think he knew the son's son, but the Getty who gave them the money was like 50 years old at the time. So he's like the father of
Right,
the other Getty,
okay.
but gave him like several $1 million.
So he had Getty money
Yes.
to start his business.
Yes. If you're gonna have one, if you're gonna be a latchkey kid and you can pick any friend, pick the Gettys.
Yes, and it's he never mentions this, and it pisses me off on a few levels. A, he's a liar, which I don't like, and B, why I would say he's Person of the Year quality is that you can just verify that what he's saying is total horseshit. And
Yes.
if I had only known, and it's so weird, like I get why this could happen in the 20s when there's no record of anything.
Right.
So you can just say, I was a pro wrestler down in Georgia, and then I moved here, and I designed Lamborghinis, and now and no one would ever know. You would just
Yes.
never meet someone. But now you have the fucking internet,
Yes.
so you can just look up who his dad was,
So you look at his Wikipedia page.
and he's still spewing this horseshit and getting away with it, by the way. And
Populism.
it makes me, and there's the fact that what's wrong with admitting your dad was a successful lawyer?
Right.
Like, why? So you're trying to ingratiate yourself to the disadvantage by being a liar, and you'll never be one of them. And there's nothing really admirable about being poor.
No.
There's nothing to be ashamed about it, but
No.
you should be trying to dig your way out of it. If you're gonna make shit up, why is it that you were much more poor than you actually were?
Yes.
It's fucking retarded. And
Well, see, as the boy from Hope's, I mean, Clinton actually was poor.
Right.
I grew up in a trailer park and overcame obstacles. Politician story.
well,
where
everyone
people-
likes that.
Everyone loves that, but if you don't have one, then you fake one.
Yeah, and I didn't know because I'm like not a professional journalist, but I do have Google, and so it's like you're a fucking liar, but somehow he still wins, and it just makes me like fuck, man, like I could have got far in life by just saying I was raised by wolves in Afghanistan, and I swam over the English Channel, and now I'm a comedian.
Well, it helps to be have great hair. First of all, you have the great hair. The thing that kills me about him, there's that, but also the fact that he he was used to drink a lot and got wasted drunk and fucked his campaign manager's wife.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, when he was running for mayor of San Francisco.
And now she's like married to some Republican guy.
Oh, that was that. No, he cheated on that wife. That was the chick from Fox. Yeah, he was dating Don Trump Jr. But his new wife is another rich woman, a really moneyed woman from like a Montana money family, whatever else it is. I don't give a shit about it. I mean, yeah, like you said, I don't care how privileged he was growing up or how wealthy he is. I just don't like it. He pretends otherwise.
Yeah.
And also that he just is. He cannot speak to issues. He's just a handsome guy who looks good in a suit and says the right things.
Yeah.
There's no indication whatsoever that he's not just the same 20-something Getty friend who opened a wine store / mini, what do they call them, hotel, like those 8-room hotels where they are like cool little hangout hotels with wine bars and stuff like that. Yeah. I hate those people. All right, Matt, for number 2, for me, I went for the, not really a person, I broke the rules here. I went for the World Cup in Russia. You probably forgot. You forget this was we had the World Cup this past year,
right?
In June and July. Apparently, there were 3.5 billion viewers of the World Cup in Russia, and I like anytime there's it's World Cup. Sometimes the Olympics, soccer. It is a time when everyone pretends that the United States loves soccer. Soccer is beloved in many countries, but the soccer is the world's greatest sport. And we even pretended here in the United States for like 4 to 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. And ESPN runs nothing but soccer, and ABC and everybody else. And half the world, billions of people watch soccer. And then the minute it ends, it just all goes away. And so I like anytime there's a huge soccer, especially World Cups, and they always pretend this is going to kick off a huge wave. I've been hearing this since I was a kid. This is going to kick off a huge wave of soccer, since Pele, of soccer being huge in the United States. And it never, ever happens. Which just goes to show you that Americans are smarter than the rest of the world in picking their sports, because soccer is a stupid fucking sport. And no matter how cool you make it look and how cool the players are, and they're amazing athletes in the World Cup, and it is the most watched sporting event in the entire world, and it's a huge deal and national pride, that the minute it's over, nobody over the age of 9 gives a shit about soccer.
So this is the person of the year because it's just the same old story.
It reminds me of, I guess I've been around for a while. Ever since I was a kid, like this, I remember the World Cups or the Olympics, or when Pele came to the United States to play in the original MLS or whatever it was called back then. This is it. This is the time soccer takes over the United States like it has in Mexico or England or somewhere else. And I remember thinking, like, everyone's got to get into soccer. It's going to be soccer huge. And then it never, ever picks up. And I account for that with the basic underlying fact that soccer is a sucky sport. It's just the same reason handball, we talked about earlier, handball will never become a big sport in this country. It's huge in Australia, apparently, in Indonesia and Taiwan and Malaysia. It will never be a big sport in this country.
Yeah, even our 4th sport, which is hockey, is so much cooler than soccer.
Yes.
So, like, do you think we have room for 5 sports? We have, football. We have the NFL, college football.
Yes.
We have baseball.
Which are 80% of everything in this country.
Yeah.
Football dominates by far in this country, and basketball's second.
NBA and college too. The NBA is rising in popularity. It's never been a better product. Baseball is real fun during the World Series, and there's people that watch it.
It's the American sport
all year for some reason. And
it's a homegrown sport.
Yeah, and then we got hockey, which is cool, and golf and a bunch of other shit. Like, there's just not room.
I think there's room for as much sports as men can consume. I think if people like just goes to show, like during the World Cup, the ratings are huge, or during the Olympic soccer, we didn't even make the Olympics last time, but it's just like the fucking curling or the luge in the Winter Olympics. The ratings are actually really good. It's just nobody ever wants to carry that on past a week or two. It's like a fling. It's like a bad fling with like a larger, heavyset woman. You might have a good time for a week getting drunk and having sex with a heavier woman. And then it's over. You're like, I'm not going to do this regularly. Well, in 4 more years, we'll do this. I'll spend another week doing this, right? But that's it. That's why the World Cup, because they mentioned it was the biggest World Cup ever in terms of viewership, and I'm sure the Russians lied about attendance and everything else. And then people asked 95% of Americans 4 months later, and they don't even remember that it happened. All right, number 1, Matt. Who's number 1 on your list for the last man Earth person? I know I broke the person rule already of the year.
Well, Time does that all the time, so
yes.
it's no big deal. So I think I picked Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Nice.
Because I think that feminism and like obviously things are evolving a certain way, and you look at toxic masculinity, and I think it worked in this case. I think The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, is a great movie star. It used to be action stars were smoking cigarettes, living in a defunct trailer down by the beach, like, fucking strange women, suicidal, drinking too much, hated their lives. Mel Gibson and
Steve McQueen.
That
Yeah.
trope's been
Yeah.
going on for a while. And before that, they were literally smacking women around.
Yes.
Like that was just a thing.
Sean Connery beat up women. Yes.
Yeah, it was a thing in a movie. You'd be like, shut up, bitch, and backhand her.
Oh, I think in real life for Sean Connery too.
Not cool.
Yes.
And then so it kind of went the other way, and you have these over feminized type of heroes, and you had and then it got overly masculine for a while. You had Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's this weird novelty,
Just muscles,
kind of
big
not
muscles.
human seeming guy.
Yeah,
couldn't talk correctly. No one, frankly, I have no idea what he was even doing on screen. It's fucking weird.
Yeah, he just had big muscles and funny hair.
But The Rock is like he seems like a really genuine guy.
Yes.
He does a lot of charitable things. His Instagram is very uplifting. I don't think it's totally fake. He's not a pussy. He's a big, strong guy, but he's nice. He smiles a lot. He's not a brutish psychopath that's off the fucking hinges. In all of his movies, he seems to be rescuing his family from something.
Yes. I did fall asleep during that high skyscraper movie.
I watched it on the plane.
Yes.
I thought it was good.
Really?
Well,
I mean, it was just
that's what I expected.
It was good if you didn't mind the fact that every single moment of the movie was entirely predictable.
Right.
And
Well,
to the point that they're making fun. Like, did you see it recently?
yeah.
So you saw the moment when like the guy who builds the giant tower shows him the room of the virtual reality mirrors or whatever they were, the screens.
Yeah.
Yes, I built a giant room with confusing screens in it at the top of my building, and they do in the first 5 minutes of the movie, like, I wonder if there's going to be a chase and an action sequence in the room with the fake virtual reality mirrors. later in
Yeah,
the movie.
I was wondering, like, he's showing all the accoutrements and
Yes.
whatnot, and he's like, I built this, like, house of mirrors.
Yes.
I'm like, what? No one wants that.
No.
We get a massage and then go up to this weird screen that,
And they're like, oh, how many minutes must I count now till they have the battle sequence in the House of Mirrors?
Yeah, that was ill-conceived.
Yes.
But I like The Rock because
I like him too.
He's a macho. He's a manly guy, but he's not he's not a troglodyte. He's a evolved. He's what a action movie guy should be.
You feel like, unlike Terry Crews, let's say, if he was if someone grabbed his dick at a party, he wouldn't make a big deal about it and cry sexual assault victimization.
He wouldn't do that, but he'd still, if someone grabbed
Someone
your,
else's
your
dick.
daughter's ass,
Yes.
he would punch him in the face.
Yes, I do like I like The Rock a lot. He's not a particularly good actor, but when I compare him, he and Mark Wahlberg are the highest paid actors in Hollywood. He's a better actor than Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
So, and he was actually He was actually a wrestler at some point.
Right.
Not necessarily he did real wrestle, but fake wrestle. And I used to watch his dad wrestle, by the way. That's how old I am.
Oh wow.
And he's also from Hawaii, right?
Yeah, he's part Samoan. I know that.
They do the Hawaiian thing. All right, that was a good one. My number one is David Hogg. I went back earlier in the year.
David Hogg. Yeah.
Yes, David Hogg. I forgot about David Hogg. It's unclear where David Hogg was the excessively manicured male Parkland student who it turned out was a TV news journalist for his high school. I thought I did a digging because I kept calling him Drama Boy, and I don't want to say he was in drama when he wasn't in drama. He was actually on the video news channel he did video
I
news.
thought he was a theater guy.
I don't know if he's a theater guy. He did training for media. He did have media training to be on the actual on camera for his high school channel.
Right.
So whether or not he did have some media training. He definitely knew how to wear makeup and do his hair, and he was very well spoken. But Hogg reminds me of how classically real issue and a non-issue can coincide with one another. So one was the Parkland shooting, where actually the dude who slipped through 17 rounds of inspections and reports about being a crazy guy with guns online, talking about being a crazy guy with guns who's going to kill people, and his parents and her step-parents and her foster parents all reporting him to the police, say he's going to kill people, and the school saying, don't allow this guy at campus because he's going to kill people. Literally, I mean, you're expelled from school because we think you're going to kill people, and to every single fuck up that could have possibly happened, and then 17 completely innocent people and more being shot and killed. And then what comes out of that is every single wrong thing possible. I just cannot stand the side of David Hogg because he's like, well, first of all, it's unclear where he was during the shoot. He was at school. There was some Snopes thing about how he wasn't at school. He was at school, locked in the environmental sciences classroom where you want to be. But he and the other girl with the shaved head and everyone else really became like, turned it into as much as they pretended it was about the shooting stuff, really turned into a Wonder of Me, type ego type thing. And the media completely used these kids as well. And the whole thing that should have come out of this was some sort of sensible, perhaps gun reform, which of course didn't happen at all. Absolutely nothing came out other than massive media hype. And David Hogg getting 3 or 4 million Instagram followers to the point that now people are like saying he should run for Congress, he should run for president. I wanted to be my boyfriend. That was mostly guys, I think. But Hogg just reminds us that that this country is fucked up in the way that it can never really solve real problems, because what comes out of Parkland is Hogg. That's like sort of what comes out of it, is like everybody's seeking opportunity. The media is mostly a lot to blame, and politicians, of course. But even the kids, this generation of kids, I think, are first and foremost thinking about, how do I get on TV? How do I get Instagram followers? And we can never actually solve any real problems, because everybody who's like can make changes, I think, is so their fucking standards and their priorities are so fucked up that nothing ever changes. So that's why I picked David Hogg. Also, his name's Hogg, which just worked out really well. Really well.
It's a good point. Like when I look back on him doing all those media appearances, and I almost remember headlines of like, David Hogg and the bald girl accomplished this.
Yes.
And like they really didn't change anything, did they?
No, they didn't change anything. It's unclear. First of all, honestly, I mean, I got to say this. It would have been better if someone who was shot was the person. Like, remember when Brady, when Reagan's guy got shot? I don't remember in the 80s. When Reagan got shot, I'm going to say Tom Brady. It wasn't Tom Brady. Whatever his name was, his Treasury Secretary got shot in the head and was wheelchair bound for the rest of his life. And they set up the Brady Foundation to fight to do stop gun violence and do gun restrictions. And the Brady Bill, and his wife took the mantle, and he was always around, like in the wheelchair. It definitely works better if someone who's been actually injured or traumatized in there, or like if it's a rape cause, if someone who's been sexually assaulted is there, as opposed to somebody who was around when it happened. I'm sure it was terrifying, even for people who weren't in the building or a different building or way down the hall when the people got shot, but just not quite as dramatic as when survivors who actually were injured tell a story. There was a guy in Texas. There was a shooting in Texas not long after, and this kid got shot like in the head, right? Like the bullet went through his head, I think, his skull somehow, like the side of it, but he was okay. And like, he was doing like talks about this like, a week or two later. But it's like he had a hole in his head. He got shot in the head. And you're like, damn, I want to hear from this guy. But the kid locked in the environmental sciences class, who was a TV reporter, Cub TV reporter, it's just not, it doesn't work the same. Like Brady, I think Brady, like, he'd roll around, if you didn't agree with him, he'd roll around in his wheelchair, and the cameras would come around, and what are you going to say to the guy? Like, more guns. Fuck you.
Right.
Sorry, you're quadriplegic. Fuck you. You got to have like the real victim be doing this stuff. Hogg looks like he wasn't exactly like the right pinned him as, but he was still, he didn't look right. His story wasn't right.
Yeah, it seemed like he was making it more about him than it should have been. I don't know. He
was extremely well spoken.
Seemed like he was like
weird too,
looking for his moment. Almost.
Yes,
like
he sounded like a TV reporter.
Yeah,
he sounded like he had media training. And same with Emma, whatever her name was. They were just a little too polished. It's like, oh, it was a horrible thing that happened in high school. Well, let me change my voice and enunciate clearly and look into the left camera, left lower third. Can you get that down there? It's like, right. It's like those phony baloney TV reporters when they try to fake emotions. All right, Matt, that's our show for today. We got to go. That's it. You have something? Is there a rain? Do you have a Rain Dove update?
No, I kind of was busy with other stuff, but I will follow up on it. I have a source. This is
really
exciting. Yeah, I have a source that has info on Argento and Rose McGowan and Rain Dove, and so I'm going to corroborate all of this.
Really?
And we'll still know Rain Dove's a liar, but...
Wait, does this mean you will not be mini golfing with Rain Dove?
I don't know. It depends on if she reads my blog or not, I guess.
I don't think she reads a lot. I did send you the thing where she speaks.
Oh, yeah, I never...
It was absolutely.
Is it weird?
It's a video where she starts out fully dressed as a man and in like a man's designer wear, suits and stuff like that. And then slowly during the interview, starts undressing very slowly. And to the point that she gets down to like sort of whatever bra and panties like a woman with no womanly body would have, wears like granny panties and bra, which is kind of weird. And her whole point was like, if I wear men's clothes, I'm a man. If I wear women's clothes, I'm a woman. So, and that was the extent of the. Honestly,
sounds dumb.
Honestly, just like it was 12-minute interview. I thought like, yeah, she could speak for 15 seconds. That'd be enough. The slow undressing was really a horrible reveal.
What does it sound like? Does it sound like a woman or?
She sounds like a woman. She reminds me of Katie Lang.
Okay.
She looks kind of like Katie Lang, which is just like a woman with a slender, very slender, skinny body and a butch haircut, dressed like a man. And I guess her biggest pet peeve was that people thought that when she dressed like a man, that it would be she was modeling menswear, whereas her point was like, if I'm a woman wearing menswear, then it's women's wear by definition. And I don't know who's arguing against her, but that seemed to be her big activist.
Yeah.
That seemed to be a big activist point. She's
Right.
not very attractive, and she's not even that provocative. So I don't really understand like what you have. Like even like that fat chick in England, the obese one, the size 24 model with the tattoos. She's at least provocative. She's disgusting, but at least she like says provocative things.
Yeah.
Like you have to like you sort of have to respond to her. Rain Dove just seems like a very vanilla milquetoast.
Yeah, from my
cross-dresser
experience conversating with her, I think she wants to be a diplomatic, reasonable person on these issues.
Yeah, but
that's not going to work with this kind of stuff.
What is that?
You have to say things that are fucking totally retarded and off base.
Yes. Also, where does being non-controversial and vanilla get you in this world? when your thing is that you're
on social media.
Well, when your thing is that you're a cross-dressing model / calling out people on social media and you're vanilla, that's not going to get you. Got to be harsh. I mean, I agree with that shit.
Yeah.
So, all right, this is Lex. Last minute. Talk to you next week.
Scrotum, it's my wrinkly, crinkly bag of skin. Scrotum, it's the thing I keep my testes in. Well, it's wrinkly and it's crinkly and it's